Hey traders, Greg here. So another schizo kind of day in the markets, depending on where you look. Good days, mediocre days, bad days. Right? Anyway, financials are the top sector, up just under 1%, but a nice green bar. It's only 140 as I'm speaking here, but assuming this was to close like that, bottoming tail bar, red bar ignored, wide range bar up above that high, we'd look for it to go higher next week. What's doing well? Well, let's sweat this and see my list here. You can't see it, but COF, something like this is good for a put spread if there's premium. Travelers, another put spread type of pattern. This one not quite ready yet for directional, but could be next week, depending on how it holds up. Chubb could be clearing these highs, could be going up. DFS, definitely a put spread candidate, but a wide range bar. If we were to get like a 1, 2, 3 type of a pattern, these could go up. Let's look at other markets. Well, let's look at kind of the crazy this morning, on the unemployment report. Interest rates screamed higher, and it gapped up. So a big move up, stalled, not really going much of anywhere. And as you know, might know or not, as interest rates have gone up, that has been bearish for the markets. Now, the markets are not acting bearishly today. They're actually holding their own, and the S&Ps and the Qs made new all-time highs. We'll see if they close that way. We'll take a look at them in a minute. These interest rates are basing near the high of the day, so not pulling back. They look like they could go higher. And in addition, the dollar moved up. So when interest rates have moved up and the dollar has moved up, the markets have moved down. Clearly, there's a disconnect. And that can be difficult as a trader or investor when you look at intermarket analysis and you see a theme that's been going on for quite a long time and it begins to disconnect. It's like, what's going on? Something's changing. So clearly there is. Now, the question is, if this starts breaking out above these highs and interest rates go up, how will the market react? We're just going to have to wait and see. But clearly this has formed a support area now. You put in a line, an alert, wherever you're going to do it, and there's this resistance. So we're interested to see, does it actually maintain this resistance area? Does it start pulling back? I don't think we're going to know today. So far, things are just kind of sitting here doing nothing. Semiconductors holding their own. They were breaking down. They didn't break. Sorry, I'm eyeballing this. I don't think they broke yesterday's low. Just looking at this chart here. It doesn't look that way. It's kind of holding up. And NVIDIA was looked like it was going to roll over on the intraday charts over here. So the way I look at my 5-minute charts, this red line is yesterday's close. The blue line is today's open. 20 MA, 60 MA. Why 60? Same as the 20 on the 15, and the 200, give or take, about the same as the 20 on the hourly. So if it's below those two lines and it's below the moving averages, can it break down? And I mentioned in the green room today, well, let's short this if it breaks below the lows, because with knowing that multiple time frames are aligned lower and it's below yesterday's close in the open. Now, this is extended, so that was supportive. Well, even though it's in an uptrend, it was supportive that it could go down. Well, it never triggered. And what this tells me is that on a short-term basis, you've got individuals either taking profits or shorting it, looking for it to go lower. So when it took out the high, it just ripped higher. And, of course, we can also assume as it took out the highs, it's going to trigger longs. And, of course, those that are short, they're going to buy to cover. And, that took off to the upside. So far, green day. Qs, not moving much, but, this morning looked on the intraday charts, looked like it was going to go lower. Now, what's happening pre-market doesn't necessarily mean it's going to follow through. We don't know. Like a lot of things that are in the future, of course, we don't know. Actually, we don't know any of them if it's in the future, but we look at probabilities. So the 5-minute chart was kind of chopping down. It opened up lower. It looked like maybe it would go down. It retraced back up into the gap fill. There's always going to be sellers there, and it just chopped around for an hour or so, ripped higher, ripped right back down again, and then on this support right there, it starts its grind, and it's just grinding up. 65 minute. Why 65 minute? It breaks up these bars into equal sizes versus a 60 minute. One bar could, in the beginning of the day, it'll be a half hour, and depending on your platform, the last bar of the day could be the half hour. So just for being consistent, really, in the essence of it, it really doesn't matter. It's just knowing what we're dealing with. That's all. You look at a chart, you look at the trend, and whether it's a 60 or 65 minute, the trend's going to be the same. So just chopping around here. One of my alerts went off on CDW. We can take a look at that. So far bullish. Top of the big green bar. Closes strong. We'd assume it's going to go higher. S&Ps, pretty much the same. If it closes like that, just a marginal new high, all-time high close, but pulling back, was rattling around here, moved up, gap down, closing strong. We'll see how it closes strong, but so far it looks good. The Dow, just kind of a grinder up into what would be a kill zone or a sell zone. These overlapping bars right here and the 20 MA are aligned. We'll see if it breaks a prior day's low. So based on looking at support and resistance, of course, we look at pivots. Where's a prior pivot low? Where's there a prior pivot high? We also look at, is there a cluster of opens and closes? So you got that there. It was like a continuation pattern. That would be where your resistance is. And then as prices are moving up, our first reference point of resistance is a prior day's low. So even though you look at something that's broken down and you have a bias for a turn, well, first you have to get a turn bar, right? Topping tail bar, red or green, and it's got to break a prior day's low. So until it breaks a prior day's low, it would be foolish on a swing basis to consider shorting this, even though it's broken down. So nothing to do there. Oil coming up into a sell zone. Where it broke down from coming into there hasn't broken a prior day's low. We'll see what it does. Transports. It's been all over the place. That broke down. And let's take a look at the weekly chart. So topping there, 3 pivot highs, pivot low here. It breaks down, not on a closing basis. As it breaks, it comes back up again. It tries to break, it comes back up again. It's an indecisive pattern. I don't know which way that's going to go. So just stay away. Clearly, there's a sign of weakness, but maybe these 2 bottoming tail bars, they're communicating the potential for recovery. Now we're going to see, does it actually recover? Does it retrace up to this pivot high? Does it break below these lows next week? We're in wait and see mode. IWM, Russell, broke down. And that broke down and it retraced all the way up and into the area where it would fill the gap. It didn't quite fill the gap. It got close, came all the way back down, and it's just been chopping around here. Maybe if it breaks below the opening price, at the blue line, if it breaks down there, that could move lower and turn red on the day. We're waiting to see. Biotechs. I'm not sure. This looked pretty impressive on that day, and now it's at the bottom of the wide range bar. That is never a good sign. We'll see if it can recover or not. So for me, it's just a stay away for now. What's doing well today? Let's see DW. That alert went off. Okay, so this is one I was looking at earlier in the week to see if it could clear. It was on this day. Could it clear that resistance area there? So now it's getting close. It came up. You can see the 5-minute chart. And we'll see. We'll see how it closes. This could be a trade for next week. If it can take out these highs, we'll just wait and see. It's not ready yet. And what's strong and what's weak? Technology's holding up here. Adobe coming up into a sell zone. So wait. Hewlett Packard looking good. Pan W. Could be a put spread. We'll take a look at that. So all I'm doing, you can't see it, but I've got a minder over here. So when I click on an ETF or an index, it loads up all the stocks that are in there, and then I can sort it by percentage day on the day, the week. Is it above moving averages? I can just sort here, see if there's any wide range bars. This one, well, I guess it's relative to the others. They're not really a wide range bar. Are there any, bearish bars and so on? So, these scans help. Looking around at the broader markets, we've got, strong markets, we've got weak markets, other weak markets, and, other more weak markets. So we'll see how it unfolds. As always, if you have any questions, email Dan and I, Dan and Granite Master Trader.